Disclaimer: this content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I never imagined that a quiet evening could turn into something so unforgettable. You think you know someone, especially your husband, the person you've shared everything with. Your dreams, your secrets, even your silences. But sometimes, even after years of marriage, they surprise you in ways you never expected. This story begins on one of those ordinary nights when everything felt just the same until it didn't. We had just finished dinner. The kids were staying with their grandparents for the weekend, and the house was wrapped in that rare, calm silence we hardly get to enjoy anymore. I was in the bedroom, folding laundry, while he was in the shower. Nothing out of the ordinary until I noticed he was taking longer than usual. I thought maybe he was just unwinding. But then, he stepped out, looked at me in a way he hadn't in a while, and everything changed. It wasn't just about romance. It was something deeper. Something that felt like a spark reigniting between us. And what he did next? I still smile thinking about it. This story isn't just about physical closeness. It's about emotional connection, rediscovering love, and how small moments can bring back feelings you thought were buried under years of routine. We often forget how important little gestures can be in a relationship. How one unexpected action can completely shift the energy between two people. That night, my husband reminded me of why I fell in love with him in the first place. But the way he did it. That's the part that caught me off guard. Just when I thought I had him all figured out, he tried something completely new. Something bold. At first, I didn't know how to react. My heart was racing, not from fear, but from excitement and curiosity. I could see it in his eyes too. He wasn't sure how I would take it. And maybe that made it even more special. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And real love. It's messy, unexpected, and beautiful in the most surprising ways. But let me stop right there, because what happened next is something you won't want to miss. Was it a beautiful surprise or a moment of misunderstanding? Did it bring us closer, or push us into a place we didn't expect? This night changed everything. And in the next part, I'll tell you exactly what he did, and how I responded. Before I continue, what do you think happened next? Was it something romantic or risky? Would you have welcomed the surprise or felt unsure? Drop your guesses in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoy stories about love, connection, and real moments that make relationships stronger. And if you've ever been surprised by someone you love, good or bad, share your story. Let's talk about it. I sat there on the edge of the bed, my heart beating just a little faster than usual. His eyes met mine in a way that felt both familiar and new, like he was trying to say something without words. That kind of eye contact you can only share with someone who knows your soul but still finds ways to surprise you. I smiled nervously, unsure what he was up to, and he just said, "Wait here. Don't move." Then he walked out of the room. I could hear faint sounds from the other room, drawers opening, something being unwrapped, the clink of glass maybe. My mind raced. Was this a romantic surprise? A gift? Or was he just trying something spontaneous to bring us closer again? We had been married for over a decade, and like any couple, we'd had our ups and downs. Lately, things had been a little routine. Comfortable, yes, but routine. And sometimes routine can quietly build distance. I had no idea that tonight would be the start of something different. A few minutes passed, and I was tempted to peek, but I stayed put. That's when I started thinking about the last few months, how he'd been more thoughtful, more present. Like when he made breakfast out of nowhere one Sunday, or when he brought me flowers just because, something he hadn't done since our early dating days. I had noticed the changes but didn't know what they meant. Maybe he was trying to tell me something. Maybe he felt the shift too and wanted to bring back the spark. The bedroom light was dim, soft, almost dreamy. The sound of his footsteps coming back made me sit up straighter, trying not to show how curious I was. He stepped in, holding something behind his back, a little grin playing on his face. "Close your eyes," he whispered. I hesitated, just for a second, then did as he asked. And in that moment of darkness, I felt this strange mix of comfort and suspense. Like I knew I was safe, but I also knew something unexpected was coming. He gently placed something beside me on the bed, then leaned closer. I could feel his breath near my cheek, warm and calm. "You can open your eyes now," he said softly. And when I did, I froze. Not in fear, not in confusion, but in shock. A good kind of shock. Something I never thought he'd do. Something I never thought he had in him. But before I tell you what it was, take a wild guess in the comments. What do you think he brought? Would you be surprised or excited if your partner did something completely out of the blue like this? When I opened my eyes, my breath caught in my throat. It was a small velvet box, and beside it, a handwritten letter tied with a red ribbon. I stared at it, unsure what to touch first. It wasn't an anniversary, it wasn't my birthday, there was no special occasion. That's what made it even more intense. I looked up at him, his expression serious now, almost nervous. "I've been thinking about this for a while," he said quietly. "And I didn't know how you'd feel about it, but I had to try." My fingers trembled a little as I untied the ribbon. His handwriting was messy but heartfelt. The letter talked about how he missed us, the real us. The couple that used to laugh until midnight, talk about dreams over coffee, and kiss like we'd just met. Somewhere along the way, life had dulled that shine. Work, kids, bills, time. All of it had worn us down. He said he wanted to bring it all back, not just in words, but through action. Something different. Something bold. And that's where the box came in. Inside wasn't jewelry, like I'd half expected. It was something else. A small, meaningful token that instantly brought back a flood of memories, something only the two of us would understand. It was part of a plan he'd been building for weeks, maybe longer. And the way he looked at me, almost waiting for permission, showed me how much this meant to him. That's when I realized, he wasn't just doing this for me. He was doing it for us. But here's where the story turns. Because while I was deeply touched, I was also conflicted. A part of me felt emotional, even giddy. But another part wasn't sure. Was I ready to dive into something so unexpected? To open myself back up so fully, when I'd gotten used to holding back? I didn't want to disappoint him, but I also didn't want to pretend I had no doubts. The tension between excitement and uncertainty pulled at me, and I could see him sense it too. He sat beside me, not saying a word. Just waiting. And that silence was louder than anything. I held the token in my hand, feeling its weight, not just physically, but emotionally. This wasn't just about romance. This was about vulnerability. About taking a chance after years of drifting into habit. I wanted to say the right thing, but my heart wasn't ready to speak yet. And just then, my phone buzzed. A message from someone I hadn't heard from in a long time. Someone from before this marriage. Someone I thought I'd never hear from again. I looked at the screen, then back at him. He was watching me carefully now. And in that moment, the room didn't feel so calm anymore. One surprise had led to another. One open door was now joined by a second. What would I do? What would you do in my place? Would you follow the spark of something new within your marriage or answer the knock from the past? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you would have done next. The room felt like it was holding its breath. I hadn't even opened the message yet, but just seeing that name light up my phone screen stirred something inside me. A rush of memories, questions I thought I'd buried, and emotions I didn't know were still there. My husband noticed my hesitation. His gaze shifted from my face to the phone, then back again, and I could feel the energy in the room begin to shift. He didn't ask me anything, he just waited, like he already sensed this moment was bigger than the surprise he had planned. I didn't want to seem distant, but I couldn't ignore the twist my heart had just taken. I gently placed the token he had given me back inside the box and set it down. My fingers hovered over my phone, torn between curiosity and guilt. Who sends a message after all this time? And why tonight of all nights, on the one evening my husband decided to do something so meaningful? It almost felt like fate was playing a cruel game. He finally broke the silence. "Is everything okay?" His voice was calm, but there was a tension behind it. That quiet kind of hurt you only hear when someone is trying hard to stay composed. I looked at him, and I hated that my silence was making him question everything. But what could I say? That a part of my past had just barged into the most emotionally vulnerable moment we'd had in years. I locked the screen without reading the message and looked him in the eye. "It's nothing," I whispered. But it wasn't. And we both knew it. The room was still romantic, candles glowing, soft music playing in the background, but all of it felt distant now, like it belonged to a scene we had left behind. I reached out and held his hand. I needed that grounding. That connection. He squeezed back, and for a moment, I felt safe again. Then his phone buzzed. This time, it was him who looked confused. His eyes flicked to the screen, and I saw a name I didn't recognize. A woman's name. He tilted the phone slightly away as he read the message, and suddenly, I wasn't the only one with a secret moment. The tension that had started with one unexpected message now doubled. Both of us, sitting in a room full of love and questions, unsure which truth would come out first. What would you do if everything you thought was private suddenly wasn't? Would you open the message or walk away from it forever? Tell me what you think in the comments. I watched him closely as he tilted his phone away, his fingers tightening slightly around mine. That subtle shift didn't go unnoticed. I didn't say anything right away, but inside, a storm had started brewing. I could still hear my own heartbeat in my ears from just moments ago when my past had knocked at the door. Now his phone was buzzing with secrets too. What were the chances? Or was this more than coincidence? The timing felt too perfect, or too calculated. He glanced at me, his expression calm on the surface, but I knew him too well. His eyes weren't at ease. "Just work," he said casually, placing the phone face down on the nightstand. That one small lie changed the energy completely. He never hides work calls. Ever. And if it really was work, why the slight hesitation? Why the need to shield the screen? The suspense between us deepened, even as we sat just inches apart. I leaned back slightly, suddenly unsure of everything. Just earlier, I had been caught between nostalgia and loyalty, and now, I wasn't the only one facing temptation or distraction. That message on his phone, that woman's name burned into my memory, even though I didn't recognize it. There was a new distance between us. Like something had been triggered that neither of us was ready to face. He noticed me pulling back and finally asked, "What's going on with you tonight?" His voice was softer now, but there was a sharpness just beneath it. I looked him straight in the eye. "I could ask you the same thing." That silence that followed was longer than either of us expected. Suddenly, the night that started with love and soft surprises now felt like a slow unraveling of hidden truths. Then came the twist I never expected. My phone buzzed again, but this time, it wasn't just a message. It was a voice note. From him. The man from my past. I hadn't spoken to him in years, and now his voice was sitting in my inbox, waiting to be heard. My husband saw the notification. His face changed completely. He didn't ask who it was. He just knew. And maybe that's what hurt the most, he recognized the name instantly. "I didn't plan for this," I whispered. He looked at me, jaw tight, eyes dark with hurt. "Neither did I," he said. And then he got up. Quietly. Slowly. Like he didn't want to say something he couldn't take back. But just as he reached the door, his own phone buzzed again. This time, I saw the screen before he could move. The message was from the same woman. And the words lit up clear. "Are you still coming tonight?" That's when everything cracked wide open. What would you do if your partner had secrets of their own right when you were struggling to protect your own heart? Would you listen to the message from the past? Or confront the present before it slips away forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know who you believe broke the trust first. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The look on his face, the mix of guilt and fear, told me everything I needed to know. The message on his phone stayed right there, glowing on the screen like a truth neither of us could hide from anymore. "Are you still coming tonight?" Those 6 words felt louder than anything either of us had said all evening. My hand was still gripping my phone tightly, the voice note from the man I once loved still unopened, yet burning in my palm. He finally stepped back toward me, like he'd made a decision in his mind. "It's not what it looks like," he said quietly, but even he didn't sound convinced. I looked up, feeling my chest tighten, everything in me wanting to scream or cry, but I didn't. I stayed still, letting the silence carry the weight for both of us. "Then tell me what it is," I whispered. "Because right now, it looks like you've already made a choice." He hesitated, then ran his hands through his hair like he was trying to untangle the mess in his head. "She's a coworker. It started out as just talking. I didn't plan for it to go further. But lately," he stopped there, and that silence filled in all the blanks he couldn't. My heart sank. Not just because he'd been hiding something, but because I realized we'd both been hiding. From each other. From ourselves. And now here we were, 2 people who once promised forever, standing on the edge of maybe losing everything. I unlocked my phone, the voice note still waiting. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over play. Then I looked at him and asked, "Do you still love me?" His eyes watered just a little. "Yes. I do. But I don't know how to fix this." I nodded slowly, then pressed play. The voice came through, steady and calm. "Hey. I know I shouldn't be reaching out. But I saw something today that reminded me of you, and I just needed to tell you I never stopped wondering what could have been." My husband's jaw clenched. But before he could react, the twist came. The voice continued, "But I know now it was never meant to be. You chose right. I'm happy for you. Don't let what you have slip away." I froze. He froze. Neither of us expected that. It was like a mirror was suddenly held up to both of us. We were chasing ghosts, feeding doubt, letting distance grow, and in that instant, the past gave us both permission to stop looking back. He sat down beside me, both of us still stunned. "I didn't meet her," he said. "I was going to. But I didn't." I nodded, my heart breaking and healing at the same time. "And I didn't reply to him," I said. "But I almost did." We stared at each other, the space between us now painfully honest. "What now?" he asked. And that's where the story really begins again. Would you stay and rebuild, or walk away knowing the truth? Tell me what your heart would choose in the comments. The silence between us finally softened, not because everything was perfect, but because everything was real. We had both been standing at the edge, tempted by the unknown, questioning what was missing. But now, there were no more secrets. No more half-truths. Just 2 people, sitting on the same bed where the night began, trying to make sense of what they still had. He reached for my hand again, and this time I didn't hesitate. His touch felt different now, less about passion, more about purpose. "I don't want to lose this," he said. "Even if we've both drifted, I want to find our way back." I looked at him, my eyes still moist, my heart tired but still beating for him. "Then let's stop pretending we're fine and actually do the work," I said. "Not just tonight. Every day. Let's be honest. Let's be uncomfortable when we need to be. But let's not give up." We spent the rest of the night talking, really talking. About the things we hadn't said in years. The fears, the routine that slowly dulled the excitement, the unmet needs we didn't know how to ask for. We listened without interrupting, we held each other without rushing, and we cried more than either of us expected. It wasn't dramatic. It was just human. He deleted the message from that woman. I deleted the voice note too. Not out of guilt, but out of clarity. The truth is, we all get tempted by the what ifs, especially when life gets heavy. But the real love stories? They're built in the what is. In staying. In choosing. Over and over again. Weeks passed. We didn't go back to normal, because normal was never the goal. We went forward with therapy, more conversations, more dates that felt like first ones, and even the awkward moments that came with starting fresh inside a familiar space. And every time things got hard again, we remembered that night, the night we both almost gave up, and then didn't. So, what do you think? Would you have stayed and fought for love? Or walked away to protect your peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know how you felt about this ending. And would you want a sequel? Let me know. Summary of the story. I never thought my husband would try this, but he did. On bed, a quiet night between husband and wife takes a dramatic turn when both are faced with temptations from their past and present. What begins as a romantic surprise becomes a deep emotional reckoning filled with honesty, emotional conflict, and rediscovery. As secrets are revealed and hearts are tested, the couple must decide whether to rebuild their relationship or walk away. A story of modern love, emotional intimacy, and second chances, told with heart and raw realism. YouTube description: I never thought my husband would try this, but he did. On bed, a luxury lifestyle doesn't always mean happiness. Sometimes, the most intense relationship stories unfold behind the doors of quiet homes. In this gripping romance story, a husband's surprise leads to emotional twists neither he nor his wife saw coming. Set in a world of comfort and stability, their love is suddenly tested by old flames, new messages, and secrets they never planned to confront. This story is filled with raw emotion, heart-touching moments, and a powerful message about trust and connection. If you enjoy emotional relationship stories, romantic suspense, and tales about marriage, trust, and rediscovery, watch till the end. You won't want to miss the final twist. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more beautiful relationship stories. Red heart # would you have stayed or walked away? Tell us in the comments below.